got a microphone. No, there was a lot of laughter behind Sept. There was a lot of, there's a lot of camaraderie behind Sept. I mean, it was a wonderful time in my life, and I think the New York crew, they're amazing, and they work so hard usually, and I think they don't say that they work hard here, but it's just one of those things of real respect, and we had a great time behind the camera, because I think often it's good when you're trying to make an environment where people are sort of, being sort of, not just naked, that's boring, but exposed in a real emotional sense. If you make the environment which is extraordinarily comfortable, they go the extra mile. Things happen where you wouldn't expect because they feel safe. The performers and the artists feel safe. So it's about making that environment warm and fun. And it's kind of funny. You're making, unfortunately, a movie like this, but behind the camera, we're laughing and trying to have a good time. But obviously, we're very professional and serious about it. But in order to create an atmosphere of safety, so we get the performances we want.
There's a question right here.
Well, the
question is just, excuse me, Steve, could you talk a little bit more about the people that you talked to as part of your research?
I mean, the research was quite intense, as you could imagine. Speaking to experts in the field, professionals who deal with helping people with this affliction, and also the people who are sex addicts active and trying, and obviously in therapy for it. It took myself and Abby Morgan, who's the co-writer, it took us aback a bit, because you start questioning everything, and of yourself, and everything around you in some ways, and it was very quite intense, and of course, what was interesting about that, we found a story through the research. I love it when you don't know where you're going and things open, things turn into this and turn into that. It's art in progress. So the result is what you've just seen this evening. This afternoon. That's it, really.
Can you talk a little bit about the research that you did and the backgrounds of the sex addicts that you dealt with? Because you leave the background of you two, your siblings here, fairly open. We don't know fully what their childhood was like. Talk about that decision and also the backgrounds that you found in the people that you did talk to as part of your research.
Well, I don't really want to go into that too much, not because I'm trying to put a veil over it or make it mystical or make it a mystery, because what I want to do by doing that, by actually doing that, was make it much more accessible and much more familiar to everyone. I mean, you can imagine what could happen. I mean, in this movie, they never mention their parents, not for once. But there's a conversation with Brandon and Sissy where she says, I never brought you into the world. You're wife or family, you're my brother. It's never mentioned once. Their parents. There's other sort of little clues. We're not from we're from a bad place. We're not bad people, and so forth and whatnot. But it's very common. One can imagine, or one can have an idea and an understanding. I mean, everyone here has some kind of background of what the possibilities are and how siblings and people deal with that. One implodes, one explodes, similar to Sissy and Brandon.
It's a question right here. You talk about how you got the performances that you did from the actors.
Well, myself and Michael worked in Hunger before, which was quite close. And I just feel that I have to know the actor. I don't want to hire actors, I want to work with actors. There's a huge difference. And I think to work with actors, in a way, is to sort of get to know them, and they get to know me. And there's a trust, and there's some kind of situation where we understand what we're trying to do here. It's work, W-O-R-K. And it's a process of experimenting, a process of rehearsal, a process of conversations. Talk, and then do, and then fix and change and mix it up. And it's one of those situations where, yes, I'm the band lead. I write the song, but it's almost like John Coltrane or whoever, Dizzy Gillespie or whoever. Within that moment of where they have to improvise, there's a moment they have to improvise, meaning that they can't go in or out of that concept which has been written, because if it's wrong. But there's a fraction of space where they can move. We know they got to get to A to B. But at the same time, they can improvise within the structure of the song. So it's one of those things where I really want to work with artists and people who actually can attempt to take a leap. And often is the case. There are a lot of actors, but very few artists.
Question here.
Felix the cat.
Okay, question here.
Speaking of musicians, I heard you were working on a Fela Kuti biopic. I was wondering if there's been any update on this project.
No update at all.
Can you talk about the Fela Kuti thing?
Yeah, no update whatsoever on the Fela thing, so we can ask questions about Shane right now. But well, yeah, hopefully there'll be something coming up soon.
Question here.
Yeah, very public figures such as Elliot Spitzer and Tiger Woods have invoked sex addiction as an excuse for some of their actions. They seem somewhat self-serving. Did those stories or those very public claims of sex addiction want you to examine the issue and put a genuine sort of examination of sex addiction?
Public figures like Elliot Spitzer, Tiger Woods have blamed sex addiction. Did that make you want to explore it?
No, I mean, when we started researching this, Tiger Woods or people, that wasn't, not to say that it wasn't, people know about it, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. And, you know, I think, again, you know, this is a normal Joe. This isn't a sort of high-profile person. So you're dealing with someone, it's not about celebrity, it's just about people dealing with real afflictions, really.
Question here, yes. We'll go there and then to the balcony. Go ahead.
Did you film any scenes that you later had to leave out?
No, not at all. I just shot what I wanted to shoot.
Interesting. In the balcony, yes.
You had a couple of scenes where you shot the actors from behind, which I really liked. And did you shoot it from the front and then just decide to keep it from the back, or did it was just a decision to shoot it from the back?
Yeah, I shoot it from the back. I really don't do that. I don't do coverage. I have to find it. You know, why I have to find it. You know, so myself and Sean Roberts, the cinematographer, I've been working for 10 years. You have to find it. You know, what's happening in this discussion. You know, I want. Okay, the situation with Cissy and Brian on the couch. I want a situation where the frame wasn't confrontational. You know, so she's sitting next to him, so and watching TV. So it's not a confrontational scene. You know, image. Two people sitting together on the couch. So therefore, when it does become confrontational or about sort of an argument, debate, a discussion, it turns. It's something else. And also the viewer, we are looking at them. They don't give a damn about us. We are looking at them. We are the audience. We're looking at them. So therefore, our ears and our eyes are much more heightened. If I shot it from the front, it's very kind of, very boozy, very sort of obvious and very sort of deliberate. But when you do something which is so-called not deliberate, it becomes, for me, much more intense, much more sort of familiar.
Well, it really worked. I really liked it.
It's time for one more question. Anyone?
Can we do a couple more?
Two more? She tells us two. Okay. Two more questions. Quickly. Anyone? Yes, right here.
I'm very happy, thank you very much. Thank you.
The question was, are there any scenes you'd like to redo? The answer is no. Yes, here.
Well, when I'm on set, I'm not, interesting. I'm not thinking about sort of, Scorsese or, Coppola or Fellini. I'm not thinking of those filmmakers. The last thing I'm thinking about, because they just, that kind of stuff just interprets too much on what's actually happening. I want to sort of focus on what's actually happening and how can I best shoot what's in front of me. So it's about concentrating, really. I don't storyboard any of that nonsense. It's about finding it. You've got to find it. It's there, and also to be surprised, and also to sort of, that shot on the couch, for example. No. That shot, I spoke about that. But the shot on the subway, for example, with the dust, with the thing on the shoulder, with the fluff on the shoulder. It's just one of those things where I thought, we're waiting for a train. Let's wait for a train. Let's see the train. Wait for we know these characters. It's just one of those things which you want to have a situation which is unrecognizable but very familiar. So you feel very present in the moment of watching the actors, watching the film, and that's how I want to make images in a way. Because for example, for example, there's the image in the office with the reflections and so forth and whatnot. The depth of field. I mean, what's interesting about that for me was New Yorkers. They live in the sky. They work in the sky. It's kind of crazy, but they do. And then they cock your head at you. So what are you talking about? But most of the time, they are always framed by, how can I say this? They are always in relation to the outside world, in their workplace, most of the time, in their workplace and in their apartments. A lot of people, not obviously older people, but in this particular case, Brandon. And I love that relationship because what it is, it always puts they always put the human being in perspective of the city. There's always a relationship to the city and the person.
We are, oh, yes, one last question up in the balcony, yes.
Mr. McQueen, I know you were a visual artist before becoming...
I still am.
Do you incorporate a lot of your knowledge from being a visual artist into making films that are more narrative?
Question is, do you incorporate your knowledge from being a visual artist into your film work?
Well, there's no difference. I don't differentiate that at all. But yes, a film for me, yes, it's storytelling. So storytelling. What's a wonderful thing for me about storytelling is everybody can tell you a story. And I think obviously in the contemporary art, it's a smaller world because of course not everyone has grown up with the idea or the knowledge of contemporary art. But everyone, since you're 1 year old, since you're before 1 year old, you've been told a story. That's beautiful. I mean, it's fantastic. That, you could show a movie, I don't know, wherever in the world, as long as it has subtitles, if they speak the same language, they will understand and they can follow it to some extent. I think that kind of generosity very much attracts me about movie making, and also the fact that we could deal with things which are happening right now. I think with cinema, I think the interesting thing about cinema right now, we have to compete with video games. We have to compete with AMC. Thank you, sponsored by. And we have to compete with HBO and what other TV sort of series as they are. I think the only way that cinema and almost can compete with that is actually an hour and a half is enough. You don't need 12 hours to 1 hour episodes. You can do something which is direct, which is focused, which is contemporary, which is of the moment and urgent now. And that's why I think what really gives me the passion for cinema. And I'm just very happy with the response to the film because a lot of people will say, can't do this, can't do that. But I believe in intelligent audio audiences, that people want to come to a cinema and to sort of bring all their tools, all their history when they sit down.
No better place to end than there. Thank you very much.